Well, hello. Guess what day it is? Well, if you're watching this on the day it was uploaded, it's October 3rd, which means only one thing. I need to celebrate by watching something somewhat related to Mean Girls. So, keeping in the... Well, I guess they haven't all been horror movies, but in the weird, disturbing trend of films that I've been doing, we're going to go to quite possibly rated one of the worst movies of all time, apparently. It's grown a little bit of a cult following since then. I don't know if it's because it was bad or because people warmed up to it. But the movie is I Know Who Killed Me, starring Lindsay Lohan. So that's what I watched tonight. I had seen it once before, but yeah. So right off the bat, I gotta say, like, if you're watching like the first 20 minutes of it, it's horrible. It's not good. Anyone who like sat through that long and then turned it off, yeah, absolutely, it's one of the worst movies ever made. It just jumps from scene to scene, so many cliches, bad lines, the acting's not very good. It's just like, it's just rushed together, the intro beginning part of the movie there. The first act, I guess you'd call it, I don't know, is bad. It does get better. It's not by any means like a great movie, or I would argue even it's not really a good movie. But it's not awful. It's not the worst movie of all time or whatever they claim that it is. So, as usual, what the fuck? Thing just fell. As usual, spoiler alert, I will be talking about scenes from the movie, events that happen in it, etc., 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 giving away the plot, blah, 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 and the big twists and turns, etc. So if you have not seen the movie and for some reason want to see the movie unspoiled, stop the video. Also, if you like quality content, stop the video. Maybe that'll be like a running gag for these videos. Just self-belittling. Anyway, so it starts out, the movie, they have like a... Which I think is probably half of the point of the movie existing, is a scene with Lindsay Lohan doing a little striptease dance in like her like exotic dancer outfit, which, I mean, they could have made her like have any profession, this character have any profession, but they made her a stripper probably because she was fresh off the Disney Channel and people are creeps. But anyway, they show that. It's like a very brief scene of her dancing, and then like there's blood coming from, like off the pole and on her glove and everything, and it cuts to her character in school, I think it is. Is it school, or do they do the piano first? I don't remember, because again, the whole beginning is like jump cut, jump cut, jump cut. But again, it does get better. Like, it's not the worst movie ever made. Anyway, they cut to, I believe it's her school is first. She's doing like a book report about a short story she's writing or something. And she's reading like the last bit of the paragraph that she most recently completed or something. And then someone comes in and tells the teacher, oh, one of the students is dead. So they, you know, as they do in schools, they announce it to everyone. They found so-and-so's body. She was killed. Because that's how it would work. There wouldn't be any sensitivity or anything, you know. So, I mean, that's the kind of vibe we're going for with this movie at this beginning here. So that happens, whatever. Then I believe is the scene with her playing piano. Seems kind of insequential, but she's playing piano. She tells her piano teacher, I'm gonna quit, blah, 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 blah. I want to focus on my writing, so that's fine. Then later they cut to another scene of a scene of her boyfriend giving her a rose. That might be before the piano, I really don't remember. Gives her a blue rose. She's like, oh, how'd you get a blue rose? And like the blue rose seems to be a theme throughout the movie. And I'll tell you right now, it doesn't really actually matter to the story. It's blue roses, and they use it for the imagery and the promotional material and everything. But it's, again, that's kind of inconsequential as well. So that's fun. Then they cut to like a biology room or whatever where they're dissecting worms, and the boyfriend's like trying to put his leg up the inside of her thigh, and she's like, dude, like, chill the fuck out. And he gets all like, he pulls the fucking I love you card and stuff, and she's like, we barely know each other. And it's just, he seems really like cringe. But, I mean, young kids, you know, I wasn't the most uncringe. Well, I don't think I was that bad, though. Maybe I was. Anyway, regardless, teacher interrupts them and is like, can you tell me blah, 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 blah? And the kid answers wrong. And it's like, fuck, kid, you don't even know which end of the worm is male and which end is female. What an idiot. Anyway. I don't know either. I guess the end with the, never mind. So, moving along, we cut to, there's like a football game. I guess her boyfriend's playing in the big game, because that's another cliche that we got to throw into the movie to show, oh yeah, this is really teenage life. They have a big football game, and I guess they win or something, because there's like a block party, and then Katie's like, or not Katie, fucking, what's her character's name? Aubrey. That's Lindsay Lohan's character's name is Aubrey in this. Aubrey's like, I gotta go find my boyfriend, blah, 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 blah. And she sees him, and she, like, tries to go through the crowd and ditches her friends. And she's like, I'll be right back, whatever. And disappears into the crowd. And then it cuts to, like, a scene later of them trying to reach her on the phone. And then they try calling the boyfriend. And the boyfriend comes around the corner, and he's like, what's up? And there's, like, he's like, where's Aubrey? Where'd she park? And they're like, what? I guess they assume that she was with him. They go find the car, and there's a blue rose in the car, and I think they're trying to, like, deceive us into thinking that the boyfriend was responsible or something. I didn't get that impression, but I got the impression that that's the impression that they were trying to impress upon me. Unsuccessfully. Maybe they weren't. Maybe I'm just reading into it, but anyway, again, this the whole beginning was kind of, like, not great. So then they cut to a scene of Aubrey in, like, some dungeon. She's, like, gagged and tied up, and then the guy starts torturing her by putting dry ice on her hand and, like, ripping it off, and there's skin stuck to it, and it's kind of gross. Ends up cutting her fingers off and shit. And then they cut to, like, the investigation. Police are trying to figure it out, blah, 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 blah. Parents are all freaking out. Where's my daughter, etc. And then they find... No. Okay, so there's a woman on the highway driving, and a coyote runs in front of her car, and she swerves, and, like, the headlights go into a ditch on the side of the road where, you know, very coincidentally, hey, it's Lindsay Lohan, and she's in there, and she's all cut up, and so you're thinking, like, how the fuck did she escape? That's crazy, but cool. Okay, I guess this is gonna be like a crime drama mystery thing or something, and she's gonna try to remember where her killer was or whatever before he strikes again and whatnot. She has the same injuries that her friend, who they announced in the school there when she died, the same injuries as her. So it's the same killer or same perpetrator or whatever. So they take her to the hospital, and they have to amputate her leg at, like, the knee, and her arm at, like, the elbow and stuff, or just below the knee and elbow or whatever. It doesn't really matter. They do that, and she's fucking like, okay, what the hell? And, like, she's visited, and people are like, oh my god, and she's just, like, out of it. And then they're like, Aubrey, like, I'm so glad to see you. And she's like, I'm not Aubrey. And then instantly it's like, you know, trauma. So they assume, okay, she's got, like, she's blocking stuff out to the point of, like, not remembering who she is. So the movie goes into this whole thing of, like, is she, you know, what happened? Why does she have amnesia and stuff? And then, like, the further it goes, you start thinking, okay, well, maybe she is telling the truth, but that doesn't make any sense. Which, I mean, I don't know. I figured it out pretty easily, but I know what they were going for. Kind of like, is she or isn't she type deal. Anyway, turns out... I'm going to skip over a bunch of stuff, because honestly, I don't want this video to go 20 minutes, like, or 15 or whatever, 17, whatever the last couple ones were. So long story short, turns out that she is Dakota, who is a completely different person. She confronts the dad about it and says, listen, I think something fucking weird's going on, because she was looking up, like, okay, so she had when she was home, the Aubrey's parents took her in, assuming she was Aubrey or whatever, just to, like, whatever, and she went because she has nowhere else to go. She's like a stripper, and she had, like, a rough life. Her mom was like a crack whore or whatever, and, like, stripping's the only job she could get, and to be fair, like that, I'm sympathetic to that. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. No judgment here on that. But then the movie starts to get a little bit better at this point too. Like, once she's like out of the hospital, it starts to find a flow a little bit, which was relieving, because I was like, if I gotta watch a whole movie that's like the beginning part, it's like, this is gonna be painful. Yeah, so I don't even know really where to go here. Like, basically she's lying in the bed upstairs in Aubrey's parents' place, and she like has a vision of Aubrey getting cut, and then she wakes up to find that like her arm is bleeding from the same spot that like the vision or something like that. So she's looking up stuff like, unexplained bleeding and whatever, and comes across stigmata, and she digs deeper and she finds non-religious stigmata. I guess a subreddit or whatever there was in when was this, 2000 and something? Was there Reddit? How old is Reddit? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to call it a Reddit because whatever. So she finds a subreddit about non-religious stigmata, and then a subreddit of twin stigmata or identical twin stigmata or something. So she finally thinks, okay, you know what? This Aubrey person isn't me. Everyone thinks she exists. She must exist. I'm having visions of this girl that is having similar experiences to what like I've experienced, but she's like kidnapped, and it's revealed that she wasn't actually kidnapped. She was just having the stigmata effects of Aubrey, who was kidnapped and was getting the actual torture. The only difference is Aubrey was being tortured by a physical person who was there, and Dakota was being tortured via twin stigmata or something. So anything that was done to Aubrey was happening to her at the same time. So, which, to be fair, is a neat concept. And this is where I'm not going to say it's the best movie in the world, but I have to defend it to some point. Like, you don't really see that too often, or at least not in like a bigger name actor, larger budget movie, or I don't know what the budget was, but you know what I'm trying to say. They have Lindsay Lohan. She was like huge at the time. Yeah, it's a neat idea. So yeah, twin stigmata. She has a vision of like, again, the blue petals, which I guess is still trying to convince you. Oh yeah, she bangs Aubrey's boyfriend, by the way. So that's fun, trying to prove that she's not Aubrey. She's like, oh yeah, did she ever fuck you like that? Did she ever fuck you at all? And he's like, and she lights up a smoke, and he's like visually kind of like, what the fuck's going on? And anyway, she has a vision of like the blue petals falling and blowing into like a stream somewhere. So she's like, fuck, that's a location. That's too specific to just be a vision of like a random stream that my brain created. So did this happen at that time? I don't remember when in the movie it happened. But anyway, she convinces the boyfriend to like sneak her out of Aubrey's parents' house in the back of a vehicle. So he like fakes that his car stalled. Because there's a bunch of guards there guarding her, like FBI people, making sure that the killer doesn't take her again. Which, I mean, good, because that's... yeah, I mean, if the person got away, as they assumed that she did, even though she wasn't she was cooperating, but they assumed she wasn't, because they thought she was Aubrey, but she was Dakota, so she literally wasn't lying and saying she didn't know what the fuck was going on. She actually didn't know what the fuck was going on until she researched and found the twin stigmata. Anyway, so he pretends that his car doesn't start, and then he's asking the guys for a rubber, and they're all laughing like, what the fuck, kid? Thing I learned from the Grand Tour actually is that you can use condoms to like plug up. I can't remember what they used to fix, but there was like a leak somewhere, and they used like a condom to temporarily plug it with like cable touch or something. So I'm assuming that's what he was like implying, even though this happened way before the Grand Tour. But let's just pretend. So basically, Richard Hammond saved the day. But anyway, or whatever. So he goes in the house, and all of a sudden the garage opens, and he comes out in the family's car, and the cops stop him like, where are you going? He's like, dude, can you just like let me go? I guess he's like, I don't know if they were trying to play it as like he's like freaked out and needs to leave, or if they're playing it up like he needs a condom and he has to go to like Shoppers Drug Mart or something. But whatever. Anyway, the cop lets him go, and they drive off, and then they end up going to the first victim his parents' place. Aubrey's friend, who was announced in the class that she was dead. And he pulls up and then opens the trunk, and Dakota gets out, and they go to the house, and she's like, I just want to see the room, you know, like, everyone's upset, and they're like freaking out, like, oh my god, are you okay, etc. The mom works up and freaks out and leaves and has a little meltdown, and the dad's like, I know you're not trying to hurt anyone. She's like, I just want to, you know, go to her room, and I don't know, I can't remember what she says. It's something along the lines of like, either like she just wants a closure or something, I don't know. Anyway, she goes up there. She's snooping around and she sees some stuff, and there's a bunch of awards on the wall. There's like a blue ribbon and like trophies and all that shit. And anyway, she leaves. Okay, I guess this is gonna be a long one too. How does let's wrap it up here. So basically, she finds she goes to the grave, and then the dad comes, and she looks on the grave and sees a little blue ribbon, like. Oh, this is Aubrey's grave, by the way, because they assumed she was dead, I guess, and they did like a mock burial, and there's a gravestone and stuff, even though they didn't actually bury her or find the body yet. It was long enough, I guess, that she was presumed dead. So there's a bunch of like flowers and little letters and tokens of, you know, we miss you and that. And she finds a little ribbon, and it's the same ribbon that's in Aubrey's friend's room or whatever. So she's like, she turns to the dad who went with her. I can't remember. He like picked her up from the friend's parents' house or something, and they go to the grave, and she's like, turns to him and she's like, and here it is. I know who killed me. There you go. The title of the movie as a line. Very exciting. So then they go to this house, and there's like blue flowers, stained glass on the wall, on the window, and you're like, oh fuck. Like, they're trying to, I guess, make you think it's the boyfriend because he kept giving her blue flowers. Like, on 2 occasions, he gave her blue flowers. Spoiler, it's not the boyfriend. It's the fucking piano teacher. Yeah, so... Did her friend quit piano, too, and hurt his feelings? Like, because as far as I know, these are the only 2, like, kidnappings with torture and, you know, that kind of stuff of their kind. So like it was the fucking piano teacher. It's ridiculous. Such an inconsequential character at the beginning, but I mean, I guess in real life it could just be some fucking creepy piano teacher, right? Like, we don't know, you know, if that happened in real life, it could actually be anyone, so whatever. But I thought that was kind of fucking stupid. Anyway, she sneaks into the house and she hits a paint can, and then like the guy comes and he's looking through the window, and she hides, and then thank God there's a friggin' possum eating something in a wheelbarrow, so I guess that made the noise. So she sneaks in the basement, she's looking around, and he comes down and like tries to grab her, and she slams the door, and his hand gets caught in the door, and he's wearing that blue glove that she saw in her visions from when Aubrey was being tortured and she was getting stigmatized. So she finds like a blue glass knife. It's blue, it's all about blue, right? Finds a blue glass knife, cuts off his hand. He's freaking out, blah, blah, blah. He ends up capturing her somehow or something. I guess he hits her. I actually don't even remember that part. But she ends up tied up to something, and she, like, fights him while tied up, and, like, kicks his ass, basically, while tied to a pipe that's tied to the ground. So I don't know how that happened, but girl power. It's Lindsay Lohan. I mean, come on. She's gonna kick ass, right? Apparently. Yeah, she ends up stabbing the piano teacher in the gut and the neck. Kills him. And there you go. Then she goes and she's hiking up some hill or whatever. I guess she figured out where Aubrey was buried. She's having trouble breathing. And she's like, oh, fuck, she's buried because she can't breathe. Therefore, I'm not breathing, because that's how stigmata works, I guess, in this movie. Finds a grave, digs her up, finds stained glass on the coffin door, smashes it with her metal replacement prosthetic hand, and there's Aubrey, and she starts breathing, and then it zooms out, and Dakota climbs into the grave and cuddles her fucking just freshly tortured and almost killed identical twin. And that's I Know Who Killed Me. Yeah, so what did I think? Well, Not great. Not even really good, but not awful. It does not deserve the hate that it gets, but it doesn't really deserve any praise. I'm gonna give it a 6, a flat ass 6 out of 10, because again, like there was the concept of the whole twin stigmata thing. That's cool. I like that. That was neat. The intro almost ruined it. Like if I would have turned it off, I wouldn't have watched the rest of the movie and not seen any kind of redemption and just gone, I'm assuming it was the worst movie ever made or whatever. No, I wouldn't have. There are far worse movies than this. Like Soul Survivors. That was all. I'm going to review that movie. You want a bad movie that goes below 5 for me in a final score? Wait till I review Soul Survivors. Anyway. Yikes. So yeah, that was it. 6 out of 10. It's not bad. I mean, it's fun enough once you get past that beginning slog and the story gets going a little bit. It's a little bit stupid, but if you like just snap out of like realism and stuff and get into the movie, it's kind of fun. I wouldn't recommend it, but if someone was going to watch it and whatever, I wouldn't talk them out of it. I'd say, yeah, go for it. You know, satisfy your curiosity. Yeah, so cool. Happy October 3rd. Stay fetch, y'all.